What does it take for an individual to rise from the ranks of a humble KGB officer to become the modern-day equivalent of a tsar? This is the tale of the enigmatic figure of Vladimir Putin, a man who has captivated the world with his complex persona and the trajectory of his political career. Hello and welcome back to Eccentric History. In this video, we set out on an exciting adventure through the personal history of Vladimir Putin, seeking to uncover the mystery behind his rise to become the modern Tsar of Russia. So let's go! Early life and background. To truly comprehend the complex journey of Vladimir Putin, which he embarked on, it's crucial to investigate his early life and background, where the seeds of his political ambition were sown. Born on October 7, 1952 in Leningrad, which is St. Petersburg today, Putin grew up in a modest working-class family. The values instilled by his parents, particularly his father's resilience and loyalty to the Soviet state, shaped his worldview from an early age. Putin's academic pursuits further paved the way for his ascent. In 1975, he graduated from Leningrad State University, specializing in law. This educational foundation provided him with a solid understanding of the intricacies of power and governance. However, it was Putin's years in the KGB, the Soviet Union's intelligence agency, that truly molded his perspective on politics and power. After joining the organization in 1975, Putin served as a foreign intelligence officer for 16 years. This experience not only exposed him to the complexities of global affairs, but also honed his skills in espionage, manipulation and strategic thinking. It was during his time in the KGB that Putin witnessed the collapse of the Soviet Union, an event that deeply impacted his perception of state power and fueled his desire for a strong, centralized Russia. The interplay of Putin's childhood influences, educational background and formative years in the KGB laid the foundation for his political journey. These experiences molded his character, instilling in him strong determination, sharp political insight and a resolute vision for Russia's future. Political rise in post-Soviet Russia. Vladimir Putin made unexpected political progress in post-Soviet Russia as the Soviet Union collapsed, raising him to the top of the political food chain. His appointment as Prime Minister in 1999 under President Boris Yeltsin marked the beginning of a new era. Tasked with investigating a country in turmoil, Putin swiftly garnered attention for his no-nonsense approach and commitment to stability. In 2000, Putin assumed the role of acting president following Yeltsin's resignation and subsequently won the presidential election with an overwhelming majority. His ascent to the presidency solidified his position at the helm of Russian politics, laying the groundwork for his consolidation of power. One of Putin's significant challenges during his early years in office was taming the oligarchs, powerful individuals who amassed immense wealth and influence following the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Putin embarked on a mission to rein in their power, asserting state control over strategic industries and curtailing their political influence. Notable examples include the arrest and prosecution of Mikhail Khodorkovsky, one of Russia's wealthiest businessmen, which sent a clear message that Putin would not tolerate challenges to his authority. Through his strategic political maneuvers, Putin effectively consolidated power, positioning himself as the central figure in Russian politics. This era marked a turning point in the trajectory of modern Russia, with Putin's firm grip on power shaping the political landscape for years to come. Governing style and political strategies. In navigating the complexities of governing Russia, Putin's leadership style and political strategies have played a crucial role in maintaining control and consolidating his position. Thus, they are noteworthy. Cultivating a strongman image, Putin exudes an aura of authority, projecting strength and stability to the nation. His leadership style emphasizes centralized power, with a focus on maintaining control and quelling dissent. One of Putin's key strategies has been the suppression of opposition, both in political circles and the media. Through a combination of media control, legal actions and political pressure, Putin has effectively marginalized dissenting voices, consolidating his grip on power. Independent media outlets have faced censorship, closure, or takeover by government-friendly entities, restricting access to alternative viewpoints. Furthermore, Putin has pursued a strategic foreign policy aimed at asserting Russia's influence on the global stage. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and Russia's intervention in Syria showcased Putin's willingness to take bold actions to protect Russian interests and project power. These moves solidified his image as a shrewd geopolitical player, reasserting Russia's status as a major global actor. Personality and public perception. In addition to his political maneuvers, the personality surrounding Vladimir Putin has played a pivotal role in his rise to the position of a modern tsar in Russia. Through a carefully crafted propaganda machine, Putin has built an image that resonates with the Russian populace. State-controlled media outlets such as RT and Channel 1 have effectively disseminated narratives that paint Putin as a strong, charismatic leader projecting an image of stability and national pride. This carefully cultivated persona has garnered substantial popularity and public support for Putin. Opinion polls consistently indicate high approval ratings, with a significant portion of the population viewing him as a symbol of Russian strength and resurgence. His emphasis on national identity, conservative values, and standing up against Western influence has resonated with many Russians, particularly amid perceptions of external threats and political turbulence. However, Putin's cult of personality has not been without its criticisms and controversies. Critics argue that the state-controlled media stifles dissenting voices and creates an environment of political conformity. They point to the suppression of opposition figures, the limited space for independent journalism, and the curbing of civil liberties. Moreover, allegations of electoral manipulation and the concentration of power in the hands of one individual have raised concerns about the erosion of democracy in Russia. Economic policies and state control. Economic policies and state control have been instrumental in Vladimir Putin's ascent to the position of a modern tsar in Russia, shaping the country's economic landscape and consolidating its power. One significant aspect of Putin's economic strategy has been the nationalization of key industries. Under his leadership, sectors such as energy, telecommunications, and banking witnessed increased state control, with the government acquiring stakes in major companies. For instance, in 2014, the Russian state-owned oil company Rosneft completed the acquisition of TNK-BP, solidifying state dominance in the energy sector. Simultaneously, Putin implemented wealth redistribution and social programs aimed at addressing income inequality and improving living standards. The establishment of the National Welfare Fund and the Maternity Capital Program are notable examples. These initiatives targeted poverty reduction, support for families, and investments in education and healthcare, bolstering Putin's image as a leader committed to improving the lives of Russian citizens. However, Putin faced the challenge of balancing economic growth with political stability. The Russian economy heavily relies on oil and gas exports, leaving it vulnerable to fluctuations in global energy markets. To mitigate these risks, Putin's administrations implemented economic reforms, focusing on diversification and technological advancements. Initiatives such as the Skolkovo Innovation Center aim to promote research and development in high-tech industries, reducing dependence on hydrocarbon revenues. While these policies have contributed to maintaining political stability and public support, critics argue that they have also stifled competition, hindered entrepreneurship, and limited political freedoms. International relations and geopolitical ambitions. Vladimir Putin's ascent to the status of a contemporary tsar in Russia has also been significantly influenced by the arena of foreign relations and geopolitical aspirations. One notable aspect of Putin's foreign policy has been the resurgence of Russian influence, exemplified by the annexation of Crimea in 2014 and Russia's recent invasion of Ukraine. These actions, fueled by a desire to protect Russian-speaking populations and safeguard perceived national interests, reasserted Russia's presence in its near abroad and showcased Putin's resolve to expand territorial control. Furthermore, Putin's assertive foreign policy extended beyond the immediate region, with Russia actively asserting power on the global stage. The intervention in Syria, which commenced in 2015, marked a turning point in Russia's projection of military might beyond its borders. By supporting the Syrian government, Putin demonstrated Russia's capacity to shape outcomes in conflict-ridden regions, positioning himself as a key player in the Middle East. However, these geopolitical ambitions have not been without challenges, particularly in relation to the West. Tensions between Russia and Western powers, including the US and the European Union, have intensified in the face of perceived aggression and interference. Accusations of election meddling, territorial disputes, and human rights concerns have strained Russia's relations with the West, resulting in economic sanctions and diplomatic frictions. These geopolitical endeavors continue to shape the trajectory of Russia's role on the world stage, further cementing Putin's image as a formidable leader. Legacy and future outlook. Another remarkable aspect is Putin's longevity in power. Since assuming the presidency in 2000, he has remained a dominant force in Russian politics, serving 4 terms and effectively extending his tenure through constitutional amendments. This extended period of rule has allowed Putin to shape Russian politics and institutions to align with his vision. As discussions about succession plans arise, the question of Putin's eventual departure from power looms over Russia's political landscape. Speculation regarding the potential successors and the future direction of the country contribute to the complexity of Putin's legacy. These uncertainties prompt considerations about the stability and continuity of Russia's governance beyond Putin's rule. Moreover, Putin's impact on Russian politics and society cannot be understated. His leadership style, economic policies, and foreign relations have left an indelible mark on the nation. While some applaud his strong leadership and efforts to restore Russia's global influence, others raise concerns about the concentration of power and the erosion of democratic institutions. The future of Russia hinges on how the country navigates the challenges of leadership transition and the aspirations of its people, and geopolitical shifts. As Putin's rule endures, the question of the country's trajectory remains. Will it continue along the path forged by Putin, or will new leaders emerge with alternative visions for Russia's future? Putin's ascent to the role of a modern tsar in Russia has been a journey defined by power, resilience, and controversy. As we reflect on his rise, one question lingers: will the era of the modern tsar continue, or will Russia witness a new chapter in its political landscape? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.